Imagine living your life after 50 and feeling energized and excited about your future. Welcome to the Women in the Middle podcast, the podcast for women who are ready to figure out what they want and create the life they deserve. Here's your host and Master Certified Life Coach, Susie Rosenstein.
Hey there, today's episode is all about the art of chilling out for women in midlife. Let's go. Welcome back to the podcast Women in the Middle with over 1 million downloads and counting. I'm your host, Susie Rosenstein, your Master Certified Coach and Midlife Clarity Expert, and I am so glad to be here with you again. So I have a question for you. I know by your age and stage you've mastered lots of amazing skills, but my friend, is chilling out one of them? I don't know, but I have a sneaky feeling that you would love to be better at chilling out than you currently are. If you find yourself feeling too busy and know you don't want to be, you're probably not chilling that often. If you love planners and making lists, you're probably not chilling that often. If you're listening to this podcast, I have a feeling you may not be chilling enough, and you're going to love this episode. We are talking about the art of chilling out for women in midlife. So intriguing, so good. But just quick, before we dive in, I know that in midlife it is easy to get stuck and confused about your priorities and what the heck you really want to do with all of your valuable time on this planet. No small thing. You are really not alone when it comes to getting clear about what you want, what your passion is, what you want to make sure you don't have regrets about. So I came up with something new. It's called the Get Unstuck Midlife Clarity Fast and Easy Masterclass. Here's the thing. Life is too short to waste time feeling stuck in midlife. If you don't do something about your stuck state of affairs, nobody will. Now you can do this. Take this fun online midlife masterclass and get clear about your next chapter priorities without spin, confusion, and overwhelm. Get this, in less than an hour. So put your imagining cap on for a second. You snap your fingers and you're crystal clear about what your priorities are so that you can take the next steps. You finally feel free because you know how to move forward. You see that you have plenty of time to have more fun and meaning in your life. So amazing, right? Well, it doesn't have to feel so out of reach and frustrating. You can grab this masterclass and get unstuck about your priorities fast and easy on your own time in the comfort of your own home and without being live on screen. If you're listening in real time, the unbelievably affordable introductory pricing is on now. If you're tired of feeling stuck and bored with craving more happiness and excitement in your life because you don't know what you want, run, don't walk. You've got nothing to lose and clarity to gain, my friend. Head over to www.midliferoadmap.com and download Get Unstuck Midlife Clarity Fast and Easy, and you can get started. Okay, now let's dive in. This week's episode is about learning the art of chilling out with special guest Angela D. Coleman. So ask yourself, do you feel anxious, maybe overworked or burned out? If this sounds like you are not alone, and it's not uncommon. In a world where women are more worn out than ever before, this stress can lead to serious mental and physical consequences. My guest Angela D. Coleman is the author of the book, The Art of Chilling Out for Women. She's a holistic health expert who founded the global nonprofit Sisterhood Agenda in 1994 and later the for-profit business Sisterhood Agenda Enterprises, LLC. Angela's prescription in The Art of Chilling Out for Women teaches women the value of chilling out. Women can learn to seek self-awareness, self-love, happiness, peace, and health. With this essential resource, women will eliminate burnout, stress, and excessive personal sacrifice with practical tips and holistic wellness like creating cleansing spaces and sacred spots, releasing childhood trauma, establishing boundaries, increasing compassion and self-love, eliminating doubt, regulating with herbs, and listening to your physical self, and much more. This book is a must-have for any woman burdened by taking on the world. A holistic health expert with training in clinical psychology, trauma, and natural well-being, Angela, founder of Sisterhood Agenda, draws on wisdom and practices from around the world to present 101 tips women can use to release tension and chill out. When you focus on self-care, you give yourself permission to stop trying to be superwoman, she says. Coleman's approach is holistic, understanding not only how your job, home life, and relationships influence one another, but also how your body, mind, and spirit interact. By focusing on each in turn, she provides dozens of concrete approaches to self-care. I know you are going to get so much out of this episode, so please enjoy. Hi, Angela. Thanks so much for joining me today on the Women in the Middle podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to talk to you today, Susie.
Me too, because seriously, your book, The Art of Chilling Out for Women, I mean, come on, any woman listening knows that book's for me. I absolutely need to chill out. I mean, that's me anyway. I know I'm projecting a little bit.
Well, it's an art. It's an art. It's something that maybe we learned how not to do, and now we have to relearn how to do it. And so we have to just get back to our natural rhythm with it.
Absolutely. I love that. And I want to hear all about it. But the thing that I really want to hear about before we dive in is just a little bit about why you knew that you needed to write this book. What was going on for you that you're like, oh, these ladies need some help?
Well, I've been on this healing journey for a while now. And I was that mom, who business owner, charity, person, just very busy, and in school as well, graduate school. And I was burnt out, and I was just simply doing too much, honestly. And they were all things I wanted to do. I was committed to doing. I felt passionate about. And at the same time, I had to change how I accomplished what I wanted to accomplish. And I didn't know that until I did burn out. And that burnt out, that feeling and that experience is just like literally like a light bulb that is shining brightly and burning brightly forever. And then eventually over time, if you never turn it off, it just dies. And I had kind of a rebirth after the burnout because I was in the hospital for 2 weeks.
Oh, okay. I was just going to say, how did you know that you crossed the line?
Yeah. And I had extreme headaches. I had fatigue. I had symptoms, but they couldn't find the cause. That's why I was in the hospital for so long. I was doing all these CAT scans. I was doing all this blood work. I was doing all everything. And I was healthy physically. And that's how I know how, even if there are things that you love to do, even there are things that you quote unquote want to do, if you don't give your body the chance to restore itself, to regenerate itself, if you don't give yourself rest and create that space for the chilling out process to just recharge your mind, your body, and your spirit, it does burn out. And that's what was happening to me. And I was so happy when I was released from the hospital and that I didn't have this horrible, medical incident, which I could have. But from that day forward, I remember coming out of the hospital and it was a bright, shiny day and the sun was on my face. And I felt like I was a miracle. I felt like the divine within me. And I also made a pledge to do things differently. Not that I still couldn't do the things that I love to do, but that I would approach it in a way that still showed care and love and honor for myself, because I wanted to be there. I wanted to be there for the causes I believe in. I wanted to be there, especially for my family and my daughter. So I wrote this book I started it during the pandemic, because I think that was a heightened period of rapid change and uncertainty, but also a great opportunity to pivot and do something different. So, and it was similar to that same pivoting experience that I've had when I had my own personal crisis. There's no reason for us to suffer. There's no reason for us to suffer in silence. And these were things that I can't say somebody did to me. These were things that as a grown adult woman, I was imposing and doing to myself. And it didn't make any sense. There were things taught, certainly, and socialized, certainly. with different expectations. And that's why I wrote the book specifically for women, although my male friends read it and they benefit from it too a lot. And I think it's a lot of the concepts are, of course, universal. But I wrote it specifically for women because we tend to always think if we're not busy, then we're not productive and we're not doing the right thing. And I want us to reframe, redefine what the right thing is, because the right thing for you might be different than the right thing for me. And we have to come to terms with how our bodies are telling us what we need to do, how our minds and our spirits can guide us and holistically heal us and redefine our lifestyles. And everything in nature has a cycle, and it includes a rest period or a dormancy. And we need that too, just for our bodies to perform their basic functions that we're unconscious and aware of, like digestion and, our blood and, flowing through our bodies and our central nervous system and all the other miraculous things that are going on, within us, but also especially just for peace, for inner contentment, for creating that solid foundation of wellness and support for yourself. So I wrote The Art of Chilling Out for Women as a way to say, I get it, I understand. And you may not feel like you have time, quote unquote, to do this. And you may not feel like maybe you need it right now. But I encourage us all to look at our lives and to see how we can incorporate very simple, small practices, or even make some environmental changes that will enhance our emotional well-being, but also our physical and spiritual health.
Oh, that's so good. I've got one more question about that experience before we dive into the specifics. Like, you had a crisis, which must have been such a wake-up call for you. Like, it must have affected you on every level, the way you're describing it. How did that experience go to book format? Like, did you notice that a lot of your friends were experiencing the same thing once you went through it? Or, because that's a big leap there. Not everybody says, I'm going to write a book.
Right. Well, again, this was only part, that incident was, I think, just that it jump-started my pivot, right, towards a more holistic health lifestyle versus, going to medical doctors and they couldn't find what was wrong with me. I was in the hospital for 2 weeks because primarily they couldn't find out what was wrong with me. Yeah. So it wasn't like I could just take a pill and then keep going. And that was good. I'm glad I didn't have that option, didn't do that. So I started to get more into natural remedies. And one of the most accessible natural remedy for me was bonding, connecting to nature using natural healing, including, but not just, herbs, but just exposure, going out and hiking and being in the woods, being in the forest, being around the trees, listening to the birds, connecting to flowers. And that sounds odd, but it's all part of this book. That's what I call holistic prescriptions, because it's, in the Art of Chilling Out for Women, I include a call to action. I include a Mother Nature healing. I include gemstones, as well as feng shui principles to promote harmony and balance. And I call that a holistic prescription because these are all things that are readily accessible to you, and it's not just one thing for one person. And it gives women a bunch of tools in their tool bag, honestly, so that they can try different things and see what works for them. But things that have been tried and true and proven to be effective in many cultures around the world over centuries. So a lot of these are traditional and ancient practices that we're just coming full circle and looking how we can incorporate that into our lifestyle.
I love that, because you didn't just pick a couple. You created 101 tips that women can use to release tension and chill out. And the way that you talk about it is going from stressed out worrier to the relaxation warrior. That really stood out to me, because we love to worry. We love to worry. Oh my God. So, tell me more about that prescription. I love that you're taking it you're putting such importance on it. We all trust prescriptions, right?
Mm. Well, I mean, and that's the thing is that, why do you have a prescription? It's because it's going to help you. And, just like you go to a doctor or you go to the pharmacist to get it refilled, we've got to tap into our sacred space for our meditation, or we tap into our kitchen cabinet for our thyme or rosemary or other herbs that might help us. And I really use it also as a reference because I can always go back to it and say, okay, this section about aromatherapy, use your nose. This section about stimulating endorphins, or this section about beautify your life. How can I, what herbs, what flowers, what things can I do with feng shui in my environment, clearing clutter, incorporating the 5 elements in nature, that will help to enhance my mood, but also help me to stay chill and in the moment. And I realized that, I come from a culture of worry. I love women worriers and that's why I'm embracing the warrior concept of conquering that worry and instead embracing and learning and mastering the art of chilling out, because that rest and that restoration is how we fight, right? That's how we fight disease. That's how we fight depression. That's how we fight burnout and stress. It's how we manage our lives. And it's so simple. I think once people start to incorporate it and learn to do it, they're never going to turn back. I mean, so it's a recipe for, health for the rest of your life. It could be, and everybody's journey is different. Everybody's path is not the same. So I'm sure that, once you are in the mode, right, you're creating that energy of, rejuvenation, of chilling out, that you're then going to attract other resources. You're going to attract other people, and you're going to attract things that aid you in that process.
Yeah, I think conceptually I can see, I work with midlife women all the time, and I hear, like you were saying earlier, that urge to be productive is a huge issue for resistance. But also conceptually, when we think about fighting like a warrior, it feels active. And a lot of what you're saying is, with the concept of rest, is more passive and embracing versus intense being a warrior. So conceptually, I think it's so interesting to put it the way you're putting it, and to really help women believe that a lot of times it doesn't need to feel like you're doing all this hard work to relax and resist burnout or get through burnout, that it doesn't need to be hard work in the same way that we think of classic productivity, So I wonder if that conceptual piece is one of the problems that women have. What do you think? Why do you think women are so resistant to taking care of themselves?
Well, I think of the warrior differently than, it's kind of like how you express your emotions or feel your feelings. You can do it with a sword on the top of a hill, right? Or you can do it intensely in your space and let it affect you, feel it, and then let it go. Let it flow through you and transition, which is what it's supposed to do, because then you prepare for the next feelings. You prepare for the next experience. The warrior spirit that I embrace is more similar to yoga warrior poses, right? Where you're holding it. That's you're tapping into your inner energy. So it's a mind spirit exercise. It's a mind body exercise. And, it's in some ways, a form of resistance against the forces around you, because you're still focused on your chill. You're still focused on your pose and maintaining it and keeping your composure, keeping it yourself tight almost. And I think that as women, we become unraveled when things become unraveled around us because of the, maybe lack of fortification. If you're just very open to everything and everybody, you're going to be affected by everything and everybody. So one of the chapters also I like in the book is how to use a protective shield. and also using stillness as your superpower. So you can still navigate the world, interact with the world, do things that you want to do, but that you've got to have an inner fortification process. And you've got to also have, I believe, a ritual. And that ritual is just a healthy practice that usually is daily, that you can tap into, that helps you to maintain, helps you promote your health, but also is your go-to, for when something happens and throws you completely off balance, or you're feeling your feelings, you're really in your feelings, how to navigate that in a way that's just positive and healthy. Not that you're not feeling it, but that you can work through it. Because once you find that inner peace, you can keep it forever, but it still requires some maintenance. It still requires you to do what I call the work. So looking at what the work is differently, that's self-awareness work. And for some people, that might mean therapy. For some people, it might be talking to their friends. For other people, it might be writing in a journal or just quiet contemplation or meditation. But to do that inner work, because it's up to you, it's up to us. And these are decisions we're making every day, what to do with our time, what to do with our energy. We possess the power and the free will to do what we want to do with our time and our energy, and to dictate also how others respond to us by creating those boundaries, by communicating what our needs are. And we have to get over being either afraid to tell people we need time for ourselves because of thinking that they might think less of us, or thinking that if we take time for ourselves, feeling guilty, that we're doing something bad, like we're hurting somebody or doing something that's not good for somebody else. I think the people who care about us, the people who love us, want us to take care of ourselves. It's actually great modeling behavior to show that you prioritize, you love, and want to honor, respect your own care, and see how you do that on a regular basis increases health for your whole family and for the whole community.
Oh, I'm so glad you clarified the way you're thinking about warrior. It's so unlike the way we grew up over the last 30 years, with that kind of warrior in cartoons and all that stuff. That's so good. That's so good. And of course our family wants us to take care of ourselves, but it can really feel indulgent. That's what I'm hearing all the time, that a lot of women in my community can't even read a book anymore because just creating that time for themselves where you can't multitask feels like it's too much. Like it's not as worthy a behavior. There are other worthier behaviors. And I love the way you talked about fortifying it. Now, I also understand your book is created into 3 main parts: body, mind, and spirit. Can you talk a little bit about that? How do those 3 aspects interact?
Sure. I created the different sections, but you will see when you read the book that there are body sections in the mind, area, and that there are spirit sections throughout. And I split it into 3 to make it easier for people to kind of process and identify certain mind processes that are more mind-centric, certain body processes that are more body-centric, and et cetera, more spirit-centric things, but that they're all integrative. And because they all work together, to be able to see and sense, oh, okay, I'm feeling this sensation in my body. What does that mean? Use my mind to process the information. Or for people who rely, are real heavy in their logic, to look at how your mind, you're talking yourself out of something that's actually good for you, and talking yourself out of things that your body is telling you shouldn't be doing. So it's divided that way only kind of for simplification. And I find it's also easier for reference. So when you are feeling a certain way, you can go to the body section when your mind is really active and it's racing and it's doing these other things, or you want to do something with manifestation, or enhance that capacity. You can look in the mind section. And same with spirit. If you want to develop a spiritual practice or tap into spirit, which is just your soul level, listening to your soul voice, listening to your inner voice. Those chapters are specific to how to do that. So I've just found that it's a easy read because of that. If I had integrated it all throughout, people might think, oh, that's confusing, or I'd be constantly talking about holistic nature of this and the holistic nature of that. So I said, let's just do mind, body, spirit, so the reader can follow it more easily and also be able to tap into it more intentionally on each one.
Oh, that sounds good. And I also know that you use a lot of affirmations. Tell me how you've included those and why they're so important.
Oh, I'm so glad you asked that, because I love affirmations. I've loved them since I was younger and didn't really know what it was I was doing. And I later found out, oh, those are affirmations. It's positive self-talk, praise in the present. And it's about you. So it's active. And that positive self-talk, I have affirmations in each section. So I have over 100 affirmations for literally each section and each tip that pertains to that particular chapter. And I love them because you can incorporate them into your life however you want to. Some people, they say it in the mirror when they wake up. Some people say it before they go to bed. Other times it's a mantra people use throughout the day, or that go-to, when you may be feeling a little down, you need a little upliftment. You can always say an affirmation. Like one of my favorite and most simple affirmations from when I was a child that I taught my daughter was, I love myself today and every day. So acting from that whole foundation of self-love, self-acceptance, self-worth is critical. So coming from love, sometimes you have to remind yourself that I still love myself. Maybe I did something that didn't quite work out the way I wanted to, or maybe something that makes me question my capability, or maybe someone said something to me that wasn't so kind, right? But I love myself today and every day.
I love that.
I'm good. So the affirmations also are a very effective and simple way to replace some of what we use in our everyday that we're not conscious and aware that we're using, which is negative self-talk. So if we've been conditioned or grew up where we were told how we couldn't do something, or we were told that we were not so smart, or we were told that we were not so attractive, or whatever it is, the hot button thing, we talk to ourselves more than anyone talks to us any given day. And so these affirmations can replace that negative self-talk, retrain your brain and retrain your spirit to be more supportive of your best interests and for you to self-actualize into your best life.
I love that. And also my experience with affirmations is that they don't all feel right to you, but some of them feel amazing. And I love that you've given so much choice. It's like trying on a dress, oh, this one feels really good. And I love that because I've really noticed that, you ask 10 people and not everybody's going to respond the same way to an affirmation. So giving that many options in your book is so good. And also calls to action. Can you describe a significant behavior shift that you're talking about with these little call to actions?
Sure. So the call to actions and the affirmation to me all fit under the very large umbrella of like creative visualization and manifestation. So like for the chapter, take time for time out. My affirmation is I schedule my chill out time, making space for myself in the day to just be. So you're saying I'm doing this, not that I'm going to do it. I will do it. I have done it. You're saying this is me right now. This is what I do. I schedule my time for time out. And then the call to action is unplug from technology. Okay. To unplug, simply turn off the computer, TV, tablet, and phone. Create a technology-free zone where you can exist with a focus on yourself and be comfortable without distractions. If necessary, practice 10 minutes at a time. So it's something you can include. You can do that. Hey, can you do that right now? Do it right now. If you can do it, if you say, okay, I'll do that at lunchtime, or I'll do that after work, or I'll do that right before I go to bed, or you can schedule it in, but it's saying, do this and see how that feels. Do that after reading the chapter of why there are times when we do nothing, it feels guilty, just like we said. Why we need time for time out. Why time out for children is often seen as a punishment, but time out for ourselves, you're really just de-escalating. And just like separating a child from the group, you're giving that child an opportunity now to focus on themselves, their behavior, reflect maybe what they did and what they could do differently. And also you're giving them time to be in their own space. So rather than seeing it as a punishment, put yourself kind of in timeout, as in, I just need this space to be undisturbed, uninterrupted, and I just need to chill. And it's much better to do this for ourselves, by the way, than having somebody tell us that we need to do it, because then we're going to take that the wrong way, right? That's offensive if somebody says, oh, you need to chill out. They're telling you what you need to do. Even if it's true, it's offensive because it's like, who are you to tell me what I need to do? It's much better for us to look at ways of chilling out in space for ourselves. And that's why I really push back against the notion that, oh, I don't have time, or how do I make time for that? Or why people feel guilty, especially women feel guilty about taking time for themselves, is because instead of multitasking, which is scattered energy and doing too many things at once, and, you're doing a lot, but not necessarily doing any one thing particularly well when we do that over a period of time, that we can look at different times of our day and spaces that we already have available as opportunities to chill out. So, for example, I'm waiting in the car for someone to come out of the store. What's our first go-to? We get on our phones, right? Or we make some phone calls, or we check our email, do a text, or instead of doing that, you can just do nothing. You can take that time to chill out. Let's say you're waiting in line at the post office. You can take that time to just chill out, at a grocery store, or you're getting service on your car. We tend to bring work with us, right? Because I'm going to do this while I wait for my oil change or wait for what have you. And I'm saying we don't have to do that. That's a space that you can then just be like, I'm going to do whatever my spirit wants to do at that time. I didn't fill that space. So those are spaces that are already there, but we tend to fill them with busy work. We tend to fill them. And instead of filling them, I'm saying leave them open. Or just those are the spaces that we designate just for ourselves. Those are chill out spaces. And we have them all throughout the day. And we just have to recognize it and embrace it. And embrace it as an opportunity to chill out.
Those are such good examples. We have become so reliant on our phone for entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
And it can be mindless. Like, I call podcasts a party in your purse because of how amazing a podcast, like, everybody has such easy access to a podcast. But usually when you're listening to a podcast, you're being intentional. The kind of thing that you're talking about is just exactly what you said. Just plug in the hole. There's a little bit of time there. I can't just stand here and space out. I can't just stand here and do some fun people watching. Right. I have to be productive, or I have to scroll and disengage. And this is really connecting with yourself. Those examples were so good. Everybody can relate to them. So thanks so much for that. The other thing I wanted to talk to you about, because I don't know much about this, I love how you've incorporated wisdom and practices from around the world. So can you talk a little bit about the range of things you've incorporated? And I just think this is really fun that you've incorporated so many interesting things into this concept of relaxing and chilling.
Sure.
So cool.
Yeah, thank you so much. And it was fun writing it, and also realizing that I have a lot of information. So it was wonderful to be able to pull that out. And these are things like that I consider not to be necessarily an expert in, for example, feng shui, but that's been a hobby of mine and I've studied it for a long time, so these are, and gemstones, and things that say, oh my God, these are so helpful. I have to share these with people who may not know, or may know why they feel good around something, or that they do, but they don't know why. And it's like, it's a natural healing process, and all part of the restoration, part of our cycles. So like feng shui, incorporating all 5 elements, water, wood, earth, metal, fire, are so simple, even just clearing clutter in your space is a feng shui principle, because that clutter usually has something from the past. It's old, it's dusty. And does it serve your best interest right now? How does it serve you now? If it doesn't serve you now, we can clear it out. And creating that physical space also creates that mental and spiritual space as well of expansiveness. So when you're kind of out with the old, now you're also open to the abundance of blessings that are waiting for you. Now you have room for them. Whereas before you were taking up space with some old stuff that you didn't really want or need anymore. So being able to clear the space, being able to bring in the wood elements, being able to bring in beauty, or for me, especially as women, the yin element, which is the feminine energy. So there's a chapter I have on soothing yourself, and other chapter on how to parent yourself. Being around like just even fabrics, for example, that are soft, like cashmere, chenille, just being able to wrap yourself in a throw like that and feel the comfort and the warmth, and the softness of that feminine energy can help you, can elevate your mood and your experience, just like different scents and aromatherapy we know are effective. Rose and gardenia, if you've ever cut some and put some in a vase on your desk, that smell is really an enhancer. It's an elevator of mood, and it helps you also to for self-love and promoting loving vibrations, and that's healing. We all know about lavender. Most of us know lavender is very helpful for creating a restful state, like chamomile, also creating rest and relaxation. But there are other herbs that are stimulating, and gemstones in particular, that are very active. Like onyx can absorb and transform energy. Who knew? Tiger's eye can increase your confidence and can help you release fear and anxiety. So being able to just have these kind of very simple but effective strategies at your disposal. Again, those are the tools in the tool bag that you can always have, and you can say, hey, I'm doing this, but I can also enhance that. It's almost just, I can even make that impact even greater. I can accelerate it. I can even just enlighten it even more with some of the tools that are in the art of chilling out for women.
Oh my God, Angela, you're giving me permission to go buy some more gemstones.
Yes.
I'm so excited.
It's funny because those aren't also generally very expensive either. I want to caution people on, yes, sure, you can get a gemstone for hundreds of dollars, or you can get a gemstone for $3. The $3 gemstone's not less effective than the $600 gemstone. I caution people to listen to their spirits and hold these gemstones and cleanse them before you use them. And I have a whole how to use the holistic prescription section of the book in the beginning, so that, I teach you how to create a spray that you can use with the herbs and spray around your area, or use as a linen spray, and how you can just enhance specific properties with that. But yeah, I love that you love gemstones, and there are times when I discover and rediscover gemstones, because that's kind of just how they are, in your life. And you can feel the practice of it. You can wear it, you can put it on your desk, you can put it on your nightstand. And so it's like you don't have to actively be doing anything by just being exposed to these very mighty and powerful and small, herbs and gemstones, making that difference.
Oh my gosh. I'm going to show you something on now. You can see it because we're on Zoom, but I'm holding up a blue, I think it's lapis, lazuli. I think it's a heart stone about the size, like it fits in my palm. And I always have this on my desk. I don't know why that I keep it on my desk, but I got it in a very unusual situation. I was on a layover in the Denver airport, and there's some kind of a beautiful gemstone store there. I don't remember what it's called, but I had to kill a few hours. So I went in there. I struck up a conversation with somebody. It was such a delightful conversation. And without my knowing, that stranger purchased this for me.
What?
Yes.
That's
And
beautiful.
it just gave it to me. And I guess I just have it with me because I love the stone, and it was such an example of kindness, and I'll never forget it. It was just a great situation, and here it sits right on my desk.
Well, and it's in a heart shape.
Yeah.
So that's always good. So that's love. And that's exactly what you said when you're feeling it. You're saying what that stone represents. You said it was such a kindness.
It was.
That stone represents, it's like kindness and wisdom and passing things on and connection with other people. So that's a wonderful gift, and it's a beautiful story. And it's effective. You probably unknowingly, because it's on your desk and it's in that heart shape, that allows you then to process things in a more heart-centered way with sympathy, and be able to connect with people in your work.
Oh, that's so beautiful. And I have to say, when you mentioned textiles, I just couldn't believe you mentioned that. It makes so much sense, but I have an alpaca blanket. It's so fine. It's so finely woven. We purchased it at an alpaca farm, and I'm fascinated by alpacas. And I don't weave or anything, but it's so freaking soft. And when I wrap myself in it, and I keep it next to my desk as well, I just feel it's an elevated sense. I'm not even sure what it is. It feels delicious.
Yeah.
It's just so soft and yummy. It's yummy.
Right.
And I enjoy it so much, and I baby it. I keep it in a plastic holder. It's so special.
And that's the comfort, and also the love that Mother Nature can provide for us. It's a way to connect to aspects of ourselves and that divine feminine energy, and still connect to nature. And nature is fickle sometimes, but our spirits are always looking out for us and love us. There's a lot of love there. There's a lot of support there. There's a lot of positive, just dynamic energy. So that's what feng shui is about, recognizing the energy that's in these things. And that's why bringing plants into your space is an enhancer. Yes, it does improve the air quality, but it does other things. And, we're just learning to be more aware of these, what we call small changes or small things, but that really make big changes in our personal lives and our spaces. And yes, why wouldn't we want something that makes us feel that way? That just feels so, just beauty, love, wisdom, all of that. That's what we want to incorporate in our lives. That's healthy. And that also helps us to be productive and successful when we are doing what we do. And it helps us to restore and relax and take care of ourselves. We're supposed to do that too.
Well, I'll tell you, I love plants. I have them everywhere, inside and out, hydroponics in the kitchen, potted plants, everywhere. And it just warmed my heart. I have 3 sons in their 20s, and one of them has his own apartment, and he became a lover of houseplants. And his roommate doesn't have anything, and he has all these plants. He is loving, when there's a new leaf or a new growth, and I'm rooting little things for him, and he's taking care of them, and he loves it so much. So to see the love of plants be passed on like that to my son, I didn't expect it, and he really loves it. And then I have another son who also has his own place. His girlfriend is the one who loves plants. So he's also surrounded by plants. So thank you so much for mentioning that. And I have to say, I feel less stressed and more chill just hanging out with you. So thank you so much for coming on. So if you want to get this book, it's by Angela D. Coleman. It's called The Art of Chilling Out for Women, 100 Plus Ways to Replace Worry and Stress with Spiritual Healing, Self-Care, and Self-Love. Angela, where can we find the book? Is it everywhere?
It is everywhere. So your favorite, local bookstore should have it. And because, of course, Amazon has it on Barnes and Nobles, all those good places. And you can also look at AngelaDColeman.com. And it's also part of a fundraising effort for my nonprofit organization. It's a global nonprofit for educating, supporting, and empowering women and girls around the globe. And it's called Sisterhood Agenda. So sisterhoodagenda.com has it as well.
Amazing. Angela, what a delight it was to have you on today. I can't wait to dive into these tips and buy more gemstones and do all the things you've recommended, because I honestly feel very inspired and more relaxed just talking to you. So if you're wanting to banish burnout, worry, and stress once and for all, you must buy Angela's book. It's awesome. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Susie. I'm so appreciative of the opportunity and grateful. Thank you for your kindness.
Now, as you know, this podcast is all about how to love your life again after 50. It's really all about coaching you to be more intentional and to incorporate mindfulness into your life as a regular practice. This is how you put yourself on your agenda. My focus as your midlife coach is to help you get unstuck, clear, and focused on your current values and priorities so that you don't have regrets. I can help you create the freedom and meaning you're looking for. I would love to be able to help you get unstuck and be happier and be more fulfilled than ever before. The shift you can have has been described as life-changing. Go ahead and book your momentum call at www.womeninthemiddleacademy.com and we will chat. Remember, you're also invited to get started with a powerful baby step. You can purchase my new masterclass, Get Unstuck, Midlife Clarity Fast and Easy, where you can get clear about your next chapter priorities without spin, confusion, and overwhelm in less than an hour. Head over to www.midliferoadmap.com. And finally, for show notes and links, head over to www.susierosenstein.com and click the podcast tab and look for episode 363. You'll also see links there for the new show, Women in the Middle Entrepreneurs. Thanks so much for listening. It's time for you to put yourself first, one thought at a time. I'm Susie Rosenstein, and I'll talk to you next week.